Jim Palmerson is a Super 80 captain for American Airlines. He's also in charge of the Veterans Program at American Airlines. And he worked directly with me when I was at American. Turned out to be a very, very, very good friend. So Jim has always been right next to me in everything that we've done around our veterans when I was at American. And from that, we've born a very, very good friendship. The stories go on to tell you that he and I spent 9 days in Afghanistan with Gary Littrell, off visiting our favorite general down in Camp Leatherneck. It was Jim who organized all of that, and both going in and out of the country in every aspect of that. When you read about American Airlines that upgrades all military personnel in uniform if the seats are available, it was Jim that came to my office and said, "Hey, do you think we can do this?" It was also Jim that came to my office and said, "Listen, if they're in uniform, would you let them come into the Admirals Clubs when they're traveling?" And we did that. It was also Jim that came into my office and said, "We have an opportunity to be the official airline sponsor for the Medal of Honor Society." Tremendous privilege. And with that in mind, we sat and talked to the chairman, and he was all about it, so he approved it. We were off to the race. We've had a long, distinguished relationship with the Medal of Honor Society in all sorts of different facets. If you get a chance to talk to Jim a little bit later on tonight, I would only advise that you get a drink. Imagine you're sitting in front of a minigun trying to catch bullets with your teeth, because that's the way he talks, and he will go on forever and ever and a day. So you understand, when we're trying to do something different this year at this reunion and trying to find guest speakers that would be interesting for all of you to sit around and enjoy and maybe learn something from or participate with, it was Jim Palmerson that I went to. And I asked him if he could arrange to have one Medal of Honor recipient come out and join us for the reunion. Of course, Jim's answer is one. Well, we could do like four, and if we had four, that would be better than one. And so how about we? So that's the sort of person that he is. Fortunately, we settled down on Littrell, and he is a fantastic guy. We spent the afternoon at the Mary Baldwin College today talking to their ROTC program, and both Command Sergeant Major Littrell and CW5 Cooper, who is over at this table, spent 4 hours with that ROTC program involved at Mary Baldwin today. So it is Jim that I go to when I need something to get done and done well. When I need something to be respectful in that space around our veterans. At American Airlines, our role is pretty simple as it relates to our veterans. Don't do what we did when they came back from Vietnam. Do it well, do the right thing, and be consistent about your position as it relates to the veterans. And I think at American, because of Jim and all of his hard work, we did things that other carriers only just dreamed about. And most things in the airline business, you only launch a program and 6 months later people match you. So today most airlines have something that they do with their military, both active and retired. But I will tell you without any hesitation, the airline industry today, as they relate to those in active uniforms and our veterans, they emulated everything that Jim Palmerson created. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring this fellow up here. He's going to try to introduce our guest.
Wow, thanks, Tom. So, man, Tom, that was pretty incredible. But you know, the whole opportunity to be here in front of all of you is truly a privilege and an honor. I happened to be here about 7 years ago, I think, when I experienced the first AMA reunion for myself and saw through all of you and all of your family the importance of legacy, the importance of being part of something bigger than oneself. Meeting Don, who was such an impact for so many of you, meeting so many fellow classmates who, when you get together, you talk about those old times. I think often about the fact that in life, we all look back at those paths in the road. We look at that fork, if you will, those defining moments. And it's very clear, as an Army veteran myself, that for many of you here, being at this reunion gives you the opportunity to reflect upon a time when your life was defined. When it was about friendships, when it was about doing something for the guy you left, the guy you right. Just being a fly on the wall and listening to the stories is priceless, because it truly speaks to the American spirit. It truly speaks to what it is to be free. It truly speaks to what it is to be an American. Because the AMA experience is all about that. Today we had an opportunity to visit the museum and sit down for 21 minutes and 32 seconds and watch the AMA video. And you know, it was really interesting because I think Dave Cooper, who you hear from tomorrow, said, you know, here's a guy who served in World War II, but he graduated from AMA in like 1947. How can that be? And I talked to Doug Bennett tonight, and he told me a little bit about the answer to that question. There's a young man who wanted to join, I think, the Navy and serve his country in World War II because his nation had called, yet he had not graduated from high school yet. And so in 1947, that would be the name tag that he would wear if he were here this evening. So then you kind of fast forward, and we all have kids, we all have lives, we think about the fact that when you go through an airport these days, everybody is on their personal electronic device. Everybody's head is down. And you wonder what those values are all about. When you think about those core values of character and citizenship, values that were defined just a few miles from here at the Augusta Military Academy, because every Sunday you would have a parade, and you wear those uniforms proudly. Maybe it was a little bit of a pain in the butt to have to do that on Sunday, but you probably reflect back now with pride and respect for everybody who was a part of that. And again, that's what it is to be an American. And so I think about when Tom calls, I would jump on a hand grenade for this guy. Because when I had the privilege to run American Airlines programs, we all need that guy who's going to look out for you. And when you got the craziest of ideas, it's going to be that vetting process to make sure that what you bring as a crazy idea goes through the filtration process and looks like the greatest MBA thesis to bring value and benefit to your organization. That's what Tom did. But what it meant wasn't so much about what we did for America, but what we did for those who wear the cloth of this nation and their families. What it meant for our Gold Star families, those who truly epitomize the fact that freedom is not free. Our greatest generation, the folks that we take to the National World War II Museum to visit and come back to a time that defined the lives that they would live. So Tom DeValle, Tom, I can't thank you enough for being a friend, a great mentor, and a great advocate for the work that we did at American Airlines. And it's through that work that I have the privilege to be here tonight to introduce your keynote speaker. And when we think about selfless service and sacrifice, when we think about the fact that there's been 42 million Americans, roughly, who've worn the cloth of this nation since this great experiment was born in the 1700s, when we think about the sacrifice that's been given, when we think about the symbolism of that, for the folks here in the room tonight, it's not lost on any of us that the Medal of Honor truly is that symbol, not only of our nation's highest award for valor and combat, but for the fact that that ribbon and that medal represents an ethos that defines who we are. The fact that we're all Americans, and we're willing to sacrifice and give for this thing called freedom. When we think about the Medal of Honor, it should not be lost on any of us that since the creation of the medal in 1861 by President Abraham Lincoln, there have been approximately 3,500 medals that have been awarded. Over half of those medals have been awarded posthumously. Think about that. So when you meet a Medal of Honor recipient, they didn't win anything. They earned that medal. There are no Medal of Honor winners. There are recipients. And I've had the privilege to work at American Airlines to be associated with many of those 71 living recipients. And I can tell you, it's something that when you take your last breath, when you look back on what's important in life, your family, the lives that you lived, the ethos that you strive for. One of those things that I look at is, with the Medal of Honor, those 6 values of character that are defined by the medal. And that big question, who am I? And so we're here tonight. We were at the Mary Baldwin College earlier today with Gary Littrell, and the most decorated service member on active duty at the time. You'll hear from him tomorrow, and a little bit tonight, actually, CW5 retired Dave Cooper. It's all about that. It's all about bringing someone here who can help talk about those important things. And hopefully, as you listen to his remarks, you'll think back to a time when you were just a few miles from here. And maybe you were in that Sunday parade, or maybe you were with the rifle team, or doing something. But this was a place that helped define your life. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you one of the 71 living recipients of the Medal of Honor, a Vietnam veteran who in 1970, for 4 days in April of that year, truly went above and beyond a call of duty. Please welcome Medal of Honor recipient, Gary Littrell.
Now, I'm going to go completely off script. I'm going to surprise Jim, I'm going to surprise Tom, because I've summed this office up, or this audience up, and I think there's a message that I want to give that Jim and Tom's never heard me give before. But it's a serious message. I know a lot of you in this room do in fact realize that we have 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. And we don't have to have that number because there's help out there. But I want to share the story with you today of 3 young men that went off to Vietnam in 1969. The 3 of us met for the first time in the White House in 1973, when President Nixon pinned the Medal of Honor around the 3 of our necks. No 2 people or 3 people handle stress the same. The 3 of us, the 3 young boys that went off to Vietnam and come back, as my grandmother said, hard, cold men that wasn't really welcome back. Handle the stressors that we had in combat totally different. I want to start with now one of my very, very close friends, and he works with us on our foundation now, Tribute to Valor Foundation, Gary Littrell. Gary Littrell was a young Sergeant E5 Special Forces medic. He was in a base camp in the 3 area Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, little area in 2 Corps, Battle of Dak Siang. He was in a Special Forces base camp that had been overrun by the 66th NVA Regiment, the 29th NVA Regiment, and the K6 Sapper Battalion. You read the history book, the Battle of Dak Siang, Vietnam, you will see that that's roughly 5,000 of the North Vietnamese toughest. And they had overrun the Special Forces base camp. Gary, being a medic, very religious individual, was the only medic in the base camp. On the first day, April the 1st, April Fool's Day of 1969, a mortar attack paralyzed Gary from the waist down, temporarily. He walks now, but he was temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. Being the only medic, they could have evacuated him immediately. He says, no, I can't go, I'm the only medic, I have to stay here. He literally roll crawled from position to position to position, treating his fellow service members. and consequently received the Medal of Honor. Gary come back from Vietnam, tried to use his GI Bill to go to college. He couldn't. We were not accepted back. And I'm not looking for a sob story, okay? It's just reality. It was not a popular war. Gary tried to go to college and couldn't. One weekend, he was trying to relieve some stress. He was walking through the mountains in upstate New York where he was going to school. He was in a cave. And he looked at that cave and said, wow, that's home. He moved into the cave, dropped out of school, wanted to be completely isolated from the whole world that he thought did not like him. And he's living now with this stress. This post-traumatic stress. He comes down to the village every weekend, stops at the post office, gets his supplies, goes to a little park, sits there and reads his mail. That's how he was notified that he needed to be in the White House. Goes back up to his cave, totally isolation. There was a young girl by the name of Lolly. Had her demons that she was dealing with. She was an unwed mother, had lost her child. Her parents took the child away. She had an issue with drugs. She is now the sweetest, most precious little darling that you'll ever met. Susie and I's closest friends. But she kept seeing this mountain man, long hair, beard. Every weekend come down, go to the post office, looking at her little apartment window, go to the post office, get some supplies, sit down and read his mail, quietly walk out of town. She was intrigued by him and said, I'm going to meet the mountain man. So one day, she was sitting on the bench, the park bench, when he got there. And he moved over one bench, and she went over and engaged. She was dealing with her own demons. She moved into the cave with Gary. Through the love of God, their love for each other, the two of them come out of the cave. Gary was a school counselor for many, many years. Kenneth Case. You can Google Kenneth Case, but not right now, because I'm talking. Kenneth Case, probably, to the best of my knowledge, is the only person that ever received the medal in civilian clothes. 1973, we all come to Washington, D.C. We had a young major by the name of Westmoreland, no kin to the famous General Westmoreland of Vietnam. And he told Gary, you will, not Gary, excuse me, Kenneth, and Gary. He told them both, cut your hair, shave your beards, and get in military uniform. Gary Backhurst said, yes, I will. Kenneth says, I'm not going to. At that time, I was an E7 in the 101st Airborne Division. Kenneth was an E4 medic in the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam. Kenneth come to me and he says, Sergeant Littrell, I'm getting on the plane, I'm going home. And I said, Kenneth, why? He says, I was a conscientious objector. I was going to Canada. My mother come to me and said, Kenneth, you cannot embarrass the family name. You can go in the military as a conscientious objector. You don't have to take lives. You can save lives. He said, I will do that. So he was the medic in 101st Airborne Division. Now, Major Westmoreland says, you're going to cut your hair and you're going to shave your beard. And he says, I can't do that. He said, it took me forever to mix back in with my friends and families when I come home. I'm now adjusted. I'm not going to cut my hair and shave my hair. I'm not going to do it. And with a little bit of negotiation and some straight talk from me to the major, Kenneth received the medal with a full hair and beard. Kenneth Case, you students will have to Google it. Kenneth went home after the ceremony. I truly believe that this medal killed Kenneth. He couldn't wear it. There was more pressure and more stress than he could live with. He now had adjusted back. Now his friends are saying, how many women and kids did you have to kill to get that medal? He couldn't live with it. He went out to the greenhouse and hung himself. Then you have the young kid, Gary Littrell. I was pretty seasoned by the time I got to Vietnam. On my first trip to Vietnam, I made E7. I was an advisor with the Vietnamese Ranger Battalion. And we got the mission to move to a Special Forces base camp in Doc Siang, where Gary Littrell was. I had no idea it was in that camp. Penetrate the camp, set up a perimeter, and evacuate the dead and wounded. I got one hilltop short. Set up for the night, because you don't move in Vietnam in the night. You know, it was just the nighttime belonged to the enemy. We didn't get to the camp, so we was going to set up a night perimeter position, and we was going to attack at first light. As soon as the 29th NVA Regiment, the 66th NVA Regiment, and the K6 Sapper Battalion knew that there was a Vietnamese Ranger Battalion on Hill 763, they threw a horseshoe around us. It started with it started with a little mortar attack, and let me back up just a little. When we got up on top of the hill, I had been in country, and of course I was a 5-year Ranger instructor prior to that. We got up on the hill. I had this sixth sense. Things are not right. You don't hear the monkeys, you don't hear the birds. It's too quiet. Things are not right. So I had two lieutenants. Bless their hearts, they hadn't been in country long enough, they were still peeing stateside water. I had a young Sergeant E5, okay? Didn't know his right boot from his left boot. And so I looked at the guy and I said, you know, we need to dig in tonight. Now I'm 24 years old and they refer to me as the old man. Well, listen to what the old man wants us to do, okay? 2 young lieutenants, young E5, fresh in country. I said, guys, dig in. I don't feel comfortable. Now, I'm going to take some C4, I'm going to fall off the side of this hill, and I'm going to blow us a landing zone. But I just have a gut feeling we're going to need a landing zone. I was blowing the landing zone, and I hear a hollow thump, thump, thump. I said, ooh, that don't sound good. That sounded like 60-millimeter mortar. Then I heard it again, and I counted 12 mortar rounds in the air. And I said, I bet they've got that LZ. Before I went down to blow the LZ, when you're an advisor, you're assigned to bodyguards, comfort individuals, Corporal Yai and Corporal 2. I said, you dig a foxhole big enough for the 3 of us. If these other guys don't want a foxhole, that's fine. You get us a foxhole. So I hear the mortar rounds and I start running. I hope they've got our foxhole. I got there, getting ready to do a swan dive because those mortars are coming in at any time now. The only foxhole that my 2 cowboys dug was full of the Vietnamese battalion commander, Lieutenant Green, and battalion commander's RTO. My 2 cowboys were shoved aside. And I said, okay, this is going to get interesting. I seen a big tree that had fallen, big log. And I said, you know, back then, 24 years old, I thought I had the cutest face in town. I said, you know, I'm gonna hug this tree. I'm going in face first and other parts first. And if I'm gonna get shrapnel, I'm gonna be like Forrest Gump. I'm gonna get it in the buttocks. And I'm facing in and I start counting. I count to 12. Now, for you old professionals, you know if a mortar round is close enough that it smells like burnt eggs, it's in your hip pocket. And I could smell that burnt egg. And I said, first, am I hit? Well, I'm feeling, I don't feel anything. I said, now I'm gonna have a come to Jesus meeting with Lieutenant Green and that battalion commander. And I walked over to the foxhole, and one of the 12 mortar rounds had gone in the only foxhole. Hit Lieutenant Green in the chest. Battalion commander died of concussion, in the RTO concussion. And then the fight started. I had 473 Vietnamese Rangers, hardcore fighters, and 4 Americans. And the battle kicked off. I got Lieutenant Green's body. I got W2's body. I got Lieutenant Humphrey, whose liver was full of shrapnel. Sergeant Dykes' eardrums was busted. I got them on a chopper, got them out, and it was myself and 473 Vietnamese. We went into a 4-day, 4-night battle, non-stop. People say, well, you know, you can't stay awake for 4 days and 4 nights. You know, how did you do it? I don't remember laying down and sleeping. I had to, in a law of fire, catch a cat nap. I mean, you cannot, it's totally impossible to stay awake for 4 days and 4 nights. And I was the only American on the ground, and without an American on that radio, you got 0 American support. And so I continued to move where I needed to move and do what a sergeant first class in the United States Army does. I'm no hero. I'm no needs. I am a warrior, and I'm proud to say I'm a warrior. I hate to be called a hero. Heroes is what you call football stars, basketball stars. But I am proud to be called a warrior. And on the morning of the 4th day, I finally got the call to withdraw. And I had about 8 miles to go. We couldn't get in. I'm now 3rd in order for support. We had troops in heavy contact, and I'm given the mission to withdraw. At that point, we're down to 1 American and 41 walking wounded. And I said, give me something. Give me something to help me get off this hill. We were completely out of ammo. I had 5 rounds of a snub-nosed 38. And I jokingly said, those were for me. You're not going to do anything with snub-nosed 38. It's better to throw rocks. And I was told, 3-3 Charlie, I'm sorry, we don't have any support. You got to come off the hill the best you can. You're number 3 in priority because we have troops in heavy contact. And I can understand that. I mean, the troops in heavy contact needs the support. But I also had friends that have been supporting me through that 8 months. I've been in the country 8 months. They come on the radio and said, 3-3 Charlie, we'll do everything we can to bring you off that hill. If we get a divert, we know where you are, we'll come in. I had a fact, it was a forward air controller, it was working fast movers out of Roy Ed, Thailand, and the same thing. In 3-3 Charlie, you know, we get an abort, we know where you are. And with that, the fast movers would pretty much blow a bomb crater, and I would just leapfrog. And I did have the gunships. When they got a divert, those gunships were running my flank. And at the end of that 4 days and 4 nights, I was contributed to saving the lives of 41 men. And for those of you that know, those of you that know about awards, you don't get awards for taking of lives. You receive awards for saving lives. And so I'm glad that I was able to bring 41 walking wounded off the hill. I asked myself numerous times, what did I do wrong? Why couldn't I have brought more? It's just something to live with, okay? But now, to complete this loop and complete this story, I come home. I go to the 101st Airborne Division. I commenced to train troops. I lived on base. I wasn't subjected to the abuse that Gary Backer and Kenneth case. I wasn't forced to move into a cave to get away from reality. I wasn't forced to go into the greenhouse and put a rope around my neck and jump. The moral of what I'm saying now, and I want to give a challenge to each and every one of you. If you know a veteran that is coming home with the invisible wounds, you have visible wounds, you have invisible wounds. Those invisible wounds are hard to deal with. I challenge you to find that individual, friend, relative, whatever, and you get him to the closest VA hospital. The VA hospitals, in the last 5 years, the VA hospitals are building good mental health facilities. They have good programs. It may be hard luck. You may have to take that individual and say, we're going to the hospital tomorrow. We're going to get help. I don't want you to be another one of the 22 a day that commit suicide. It's really high. No one handles stress the same. I didn't have stress when I come home. Gary had stress. Kenneth had stress. No three people had it. So that's my story. I went a little off the script. Now I want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing now. Life is very, very beautiful for Gary Littrell. It could not be better. I have a fantastic wife of 56 years. She's my rock. She's the love of my life. Every year gets better and better and better. I think I'm one of the only few recipients that only had one wife. These guys, they live a good life, I guess, but I live a better life. I have two wonderful sons. Both of them were trainers. They went in the Air Force. Learned to fly airplanes, and one flies for United, one flies for Delta, and I fly American everywhere I go. Life is good. I started a second career with the Veterans Administration. When I retired from there, I seen a need for rehab equipment for our blast injuries, our spinal cord injuries, our traumatic brain injuries. And so I got a group of young engineers together, and we have a company now that has a therapeutic glove. Everyone was concentrating on the blast injuries and the spinal cord injuries to getting the veterans up and walking. No one was concerned about regaining mobility in the hands. And we're now taking this glove to one more level. It's for stroke patients. So I've been very successful. Gives me the opportunity to do what I truly, truly love to do. And that's what I've done this afternoon with these beautiful students over here tonight. We formed a foundation. Jim's my co-chairman. Tom is a friend of the foundation. The Medal of Honor Society has a character development program. We have lesson plans, and we send teachers into the classroom to teach the teachers to use our lesson plan. And it's on the 6 values of the Medal of Honor Society: courage, integrity, sacrifice, patriotism, commitment, and citizenship. And the lesson plans are at no cost whatsoever. The teacher uses these to teach character. What our foundation does, we're taking it one step further. We're bringing recipients into the classrooms to talk about who am I. And I spoke to the students here at this afternoon. Who am I? And I asked them, to take the sticker, put it on their cell phone, put it on their sippy cup, put it on their mirror. I have one on my bedroom mirror. And I get up every morning and I look at this sticker and I ask myself, who am I? How do I want to be perceived by Tom, by Jim? How do I want to be perceived by the person sitting to the right and left of me at dinner tonight? How do I want to be perceived by my children and my grandchildren? Am I a person with courage? Will I stand up and do the right thing at the right time for the right reason? Do I have integrity? Integrity is the most important word in the English language. Without integrity, you are an empty bottle body without a soul. Think about that. What is a person without integrity? If I tell that chief warrant officer, and I tell that general, sir, I've got your flank. I've got you covered. They can take that to the bank. Because I've never lied. My integrity. The same with you. If you give your word, I'm repeating what I told you this afternoon, but I've got to repeat it. Integrity is the most important word in the English language. How do you want to be perceived? Do you want your parents to think, if someone told them, oh, Janie done some bad stuff last night, and they asked Janie, did you do this? Mom, Dad, I didn't do it. Do you want the parents to say, she didn't do it because she has integrity. She never lied to me. Or do you want your parents to think, well, maybe she did. You know, she's told these lies a couple of times before. You students think of this as you grow up. Integrity. Integrity. Without it, you're an empty body without a soul. So we bring Medal of Honor recipients into the classrooms now under our foundation. I'm very proud of it. And we discuss the 6 characteristics of the Medal of Honor Society's Character Development Program. So it's good to be with you. I've got some of these stickers. Who am I? If you'd like one before the night's over. Maybe you, even at our older ages, can put this on our mirror when we get up in the morning and ask ourselves, who am I? What can I do today to improve my character over these 6? Who am I? What can I do? I look at this every morning when I'm home. I put one on my wife's mirror. And you say, your wife's mirror? Yeah, I don't share a bathroom with that woman. She's crazy. She's got more junk scattered all over that bathroom. I built a new house and built my own bathroom. Okay? I'm trying to put one of these on her bathroom. Her bathroom's covered up with food stuff. Okay? But if you'd like one of these, please come and see me. Thank you so very much. Again, let me challenge you. Let's get that suicide rate down. If you know a person that has had adjustment issues, no 3 people adjust alike. Okay? Get them help. Help is there. Thank you very much.